You've been asked to be super real and get very vulnerable with all aspects of yourself and in accepting all aspects of yourself. This particularly has to do with your shadow side. If you need a little help working on this, I suggest you go into your Astro app and you ask it, where in my birth chart do I struggle with shame? And as you can see here, it highlights my 12th house Cancer moon and my 10th house Saturn in Aries, where I can struggle with emotional vulnerability and also with feeling like I'm living up to my potential and that I'm enough for others or even myself. So this really read me to shit. So check that out if you need any help here. There is a calling to be more in alignment with yourself. This is a marrying of spirit and ego, where there are pieces of yourself. This is working with shame, working with your vulnerabilities that you're being asked to accept. And sometimes this shame can disguise itself as virtue, where I know there's, you see this a lot with like the good Christian type of thing, and even in this new age spirituality with the love and light stuff, is where people can feel that they're like too enlightened or too love and light for this, or that, you know how like good Christians can kind of have that, stereotype of being like really judgmental, and that can also bleed into the new age spiritual spaces. What I've noticed is there's a lot of judgment around people not being virtuous enough or that kind of thing. Another aspect of this can be around like modesty culture, where people try to like push onto others to dress modestly, that kind of thing, when it's really hiding this deep insecurity of wishing they could be more expressive. So you're being asked to take a look at this aspect of yourself in regards to where do you almost put yourself on a pedestal, but then demonize others. Because if you were happy with this aspect within yourself, you wouldn't need to judge other people for not acting the same way you do. It's almost like there's someone that I knew a little while ago, an acquaintance, where he had this view of the world that if only everybody thought like this, then things would be okay, or I would be okay. And that's a shadow aspect that's being revealed, is that if you have this notion of, if only the world enacted like this, I would be safe to show up in this world. That's sort of this where you hide yourself, where you dim yourself. You need to ask why you can't show up as that now. There's this needing to like be the change you want to see in the world for your own self-confidence, for your own personal embodiment, so that you can come into marrying of all aspects of yourself. That it's, where do you hide your shame behind moral superiority, that kind of thing. Interesting with this cosmic tree, this is a need to go inward and reflect on these pieces of yourself that may be hidden. Shine a light on these hidden aspects. Someone that I keep getting like a vision of is my mother, who's like a narcissist, who is that is very much how she embodies that narcissistic energy, is through this false moral superiority, which is really just hiding behind, is how she hides her shame. So you could relate to that. You could come from that kind of background, and you're being guided to see those aspects within yourself. And I know that this is a very challenging thing to work on. Shadow work isn't easy, but it's always rewarding. And you're being asked to step into this shame a little more. How do you embody this shame? This can actually be seen as like your villain era. That how is this like inner villain? How do you bring that to the surface? How do you work with it? How do you embody it? How do you not fear it any longer? And that you will find that your acceptance of this will also help your acceptance of the world. Yeah, there's a huge victory here if you choose to sit with this aspect of you, that it's not something to be afraid of, it's not something to hide, and that you don't need to be hiding behind things that are seen as good and palatable to the outside world, because this is something that I've definitely struggled with, is this issue of morality that is placed onto us, is that we have societal morals that are placed onto us, yet I would say that our society isn't really an upstanding figure morally. That like the celebrities that are worshipped, I have to be careful because my posts get flagged when I start getting a little too into this, but the structures that we uphold and maintain aren't very virtuous. So when those things are passed down to us through those structures, why do we embody that? That what is morality almost in this immoral or whatever, I'm not sure the correct terming for that, but this world that we live in that's a little unjust, or that doesn't follow these morals that are placed onto us. So what is wrong about breaking free of that and embracing this villainous side of you? Question that, sit with that a little bit, work with that. I know this whole reading might be a little triggering. So If you resonate with this, let me know. And if you'd like any help working with this energy, all of my services are linked in my bio.